just a quick video to help you when you're submitting your first program. You think it's working, you submit it at CodeLab, maybe there's like a typo or something and you're having a hard time identifying what that mismatch is, because CodeLab is great, but a lot of times it's hard on these larger assignments for it to help you see what's actually wrong if it's just a typo. For example, you forgot a period or something insignificant, or so it seems. So what I have here is my solution. I'm going to go ahead and copy the solution, and I'm going to submit it here as a student into CodeLab. I only have currently one large test case that I'm submitting this against for the purpose of this video. I have an intentional error in my code. Let me submit this, and all of a sudden, yep, we see it is not correct. And I'm going to wait a second, because I noticed that when I tried scrolling last time immediately, it was freezing up. The CodeLab even has a screen. It was having a hard time keeping up. So I think it's about good now. I'm going to click test case information, but first I'm going to pause the video so we don't see too much of my solution here. And now we're with the magic of pause back. That took a while to load, full disclosure. So if I'm a student and I just submitted, I scrolled all the way down to after my code, I click on this right here, and it took more than 60 seconds to load, which is why I'm making this video, because you're not going to want to go through this process anyway. The purpose of the video is to demonstrate how this process is not ideal and why it's slow and why even then it doesn't give you what you want. So because here it shows me that I failed this test case, here's all of the input that was used. I can choose hide invisibles. I can come over here and choose hide all invisibles, basically the spacing and the new lines. And this is the input used. This is the corresponding or expected output. And somewhere there's an error. And you're like, I don't know where it is. So then what you do, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you hope that you'll get some type of good news by wherever this link is. I'm going to pause again so I can go find the link. All right, so the link that I'm referring to was here at the top of it. I had to go find this where it says click here for more information, right? You've seen this in class. Click this. Wait a second. We get a pop-up. In theory, this pop-up would have side by side your output, the correct output. Here it's instead of side by side, it's top and bottom, but it's not clear. They're highlighting this hyphen saying there's something wrong. There's nothing wrong with that hyphen. So at this point, we realize, well, this is not going to be helpful at all. What are my alternatives? What else can I do to see if my program is working? It's not meant to be a guessing game. I don't want this to be a painful exercise. So here's what we're going to do, is that if you notice what I provided you in Slack just now, let me go to Slack, was this message. I said, here is a zip file with an input and output file inside it, as well as I gave you the instructions for how we're going to be trying to find the errors in our program. I say, what happens if my submission does not pass the test cases? Maybe it seems logically correct, but somehow it's not passing. What do I do? How do I find out what's actually causing the problem? It says follow the steps below. Scroll through the test case and identify which test case failed. We only have one major test case that I'm providing you that you need to really test, because if you test this one and you pass it, you should pass everything else. So you're going to get this large test case I'm going to give you. You're basically going to run your code with that input. So if I come over to my Notepad++, this is the input file. It's just a file that I'm providing you. It says program1-input.txt. This is all of the input that the user is going to be typing in to your program, and here is the corresponding output. So the user would have typed right here on line 9, they would have typed, let's test bad input. That would have, for example, gone right here, right? Please try again. What would have gone here on line 21? It would have been, that worked, yay, meaning no crash happened. That would have been here by the user, and so on. This is the corresponding output. This is the input. Well, what do we do? Let's copy this input, Control A, Control C, or on a Mac, Command A, Command C. Let's go to our code and run the code. And I'm going to paste. Check this out. Look here, it's running down here. It's running, waiting to run. Well, I'm going to hit Control V and paste all of that input. And it just pasted all the input and it ran it in one go. So now I'm going to take my output that is from here within my IDE. In this case, I'm using IntelliJ. You're going to be using NetBeans probably. I'm going to highlight Control A, the entire output. I'm going to copy it, Control C, and then I'm going to come up here to Mergely. What is Mergely? I provided that to you in Slack on this link. I said, visit this website. It brings you directly here to Mergely. What you do is you paste on one side your output, and then you paste on the other side the correct output. So let's go to the correct output, which was this right here that I provided, Command A, Command C, or Control A, Control C, and we come paste the correct output. And let's see, are there errors? Well, here it says there's an error, a mismatch, because this was actually from the IDE, right? It said at the end, process finished with code 0. That's not part of the output, so I'm going to go delete this. And you're going to notice that there's some mismatches at the beginning, because if I scroll all the way up, you're going to see, like here, it's mentioning something from my computer. I can delete all of that. And then you notice it included, what's on the left side of my screen is from my IDE, IntelliJ, and it's including all that input that I pasted, right? I pasted all that input in one go. It said enter your choice, and I pasted everything, which is what you should do. Just in one go, paste it. Well, it's here as part of the input, so I need to delete it. So now that it's deleted, I have everything on my left, everything on my right. In theory, it's matching up. Let's go see if we can find where that error is. So simply start at the top and just scroll down. And what you do is you tell it to ignore white space, which it is. If I tell it not to ignore white space, it can be problematic because it'll start saying there's mismatches everywhere. But I tell it ignore white space, maybe ignore case, and then I'm going to hit refresh. And here we go. And let me hit ignore case and hit refresh. All right, so it's ignoring the differences in spaces. That's not important. We're looking for anything in red. So as I scroll down, do you see where I see some red all of a sudden? Because I told you it was an intentional error. Ooh, I accidentally put 2 T's on biscuit, right? So everywhere I'm printing a biscuit, which was here again, it has 2 T's, right? For the chicken biscuit. Right here again, 2 T's. So that helped you identify that error. So now I can come back. I was like, oh, that was a mistake. Silly, delete, fix this. So now let's run the code again. We're not ready to submit at CodeLabs yet. I need to come run my code again. So I'm going to take my input once again, Command A or Control A, Control C. I'm going to come run this again in my IDE. And here we are. I'm going to hit paste, Control V. It's going to paste everything right here. And now I have my output. I'm going to hit Control A, Control C to copy it. I'm going to come over here to Mergely. On the left side was my output, so I'm going to delete what's there. I hit Control A, then I hit deleted. Now I'm going to paste, Control V. Once again, delete this stuff. That is not really part of your output. It was just from the IDE. Let's also delete all this input. And once we do so, I think we might find that it's looking pretty solid. There we go. All right. So now if you were to scroll through this again, you're not going to see any red anywhere at all, telling you and giving you some confidence. You know what? I think that's going to work. So now I'm going to come back over to my IDE, Control A, Control C on my code, come back here to CodeLabs, come to the work area, and let's paste this in here once again and click submit, and fingers crossed, you now see, all right, it is in fact working. It says, good show, you passed. So that's what you want to be doing. It's a 10-minute video of just showing you how you're going to run the code, the large input I gave you within your NetBeans, in this case IntelliJ, take that output, bring it over to Mergely along with the real output that I provided you, right? I gave you that real output in Slack right here in this Slack message within this zip file. And here's that real output right here. You're going to take that real output, copy it, and you're going to go paste it into Mergely on the right side. And it's going to help you to scroll through and look for any mismatches. As soon as you see one, fix it, rinse and repeat. Go run your code with the input, copy your new output to this left window, hit refresh, rinse and repeat until there's no more mismatches. Then, and only then, do you go submit at CodeLab. Once you have no red here at all, then go submit at CodeLab and you should hopefully be good. Hope this was helpful. As always, reach out if you need anything. Take care, everyone.